Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the last topic of Chapter 1, the basic of a C++ program. So C++ program is a collection of sub-program or function. Okay, so for function, when it is executed, it accomplishes something. Okay, it can be predefined or standard function. So for example, we have main function, okay, math function. So in C++, at least it must contain one function, okay, that is a main function. Okay, C++ program, okay, we look at the definition of programming language. Okay, it consists of set of rules, symbols, and special words. Okay, in C++, okay, they have two types. It has two type of rules. Okay, the first one is syntax rules. Okay, which specify which instruction that are legal or valid. So, for example, when we declare an identifier, we have to make sure it comply with the syntax, with its syntax. Okay, that it must start with letters or underscore. Okay. Okay, for semantic rules, it determines the meaning of the language or instruction. So, for example, semantic, it gives meaning to the language. For example, in arithmetic expression, we know that multiplication and division has a higher precedence compared to addition and subtraction. Okay, that is the example of semantic rules. Okay. Okay, before we discuss more about symbols and special words, okay, we look at the next slide. Okay, in C++, we have a comment. So comments are for the reader, not for the compiler. So whenever compiler need comment, it will skip to process it. Okay, there are two types of comment. We have a single line that begins with double slashes. Okay. Or we can put comment in a multiple line, okay, which includes with this kind of symbols. Okay, so to make our program become more understandable, okay, we use comment to explain the purpose of our program. Okay, we also can include the author of the author of the program, who create the program. Okay, the latest date that the program has been modified. Okay. Previously we know that the definition of programming language, it consists of rules, okay, special symbols, and words and identifier. Okay. In any language, okay, we have a token that is the smallest individual unit of a program. So for C++ token, it includes special symbols, word symbol or keywords, and identifier. So for example, for special symbol in C++, in the first row, we have some kind of for mathematical expression. Okay, for the second row, we have special symbols, for example, semicolon to indicate the end of statement, or comma, okay, to separate our statement. Okay, we also have in the last row, we have two character which combine into one symbols. Okay, alright. For this kind of symbol, we cannot have any space between. We cannot have an empty space. We cannot have other kind of symbols. Okay. Okay, for reserved words or keywords or special words. Okay. Okay, it cannot be redefined within a program, meaning that we cannot use it, okay, unless for their intended use. Okay, we cannot use reserved word, okay, to meet this kind of special words. Okay, we cannot redefine it within the program. We cannot use it, okay, unless for their intended use. Okay, for example, okay, this is the reserved word for the data type. Okay, so it purpose only for data type declaration. Okay, so we cannot redefine it to meet with other purpose. Okay, so for example, here we have integer, float, double, character. Yeah. Okay, it's quite, it's different with identifier. Yeah. For okay, for identifier, okay, hold on, before we go with this predefined identifier. So what is identifier? So for identifier, we use it for function, okay, constants, variable, okay, to declare variables, constant, and function. Okay. So it can consist of letter, digits, and underscore character. Okay. It must begin with letter or underscore. Okay. Please bear in your mind, C++ is a case sensitive. Okay. For example, number in capital letter here is not the same as number in small letter. Okay, so you must be careful when you declare your identifier. Okay, C++ has two predefined identifier, okay, which are cout and cin. Okay, so unlike reserved word, okay, we can use this kind of predefined identifier. Okay, it can maybe redefine, but it is not advisable to do so. Okay, because it can create a confusion. Okay. Okay, so we look at the example of legal identifier, meaning that it's comply with the syntax rules. Okay, for example, first, okay, since it start with letter, okay, for the identifier that consists of two words, okay, we use this kind of we call it as a camel case style. Okay, for the second words, okay, first we start with a small letter. Okay, so to make it easier to make it readable. Okay, for the second word, we are advised to use capital letter. Okay. Okay, so this is the example of legal identifier. So now we look at the illegal identifier. Okay, for the first identifier, employee salary, actually, uh, you want to show employee salary in just in one words. Okay. Okay, but since we cannot have a blank or empty spaces between these two words. Okay, so uh, to correct it, okay, we combine these two words, okay, and make the second word as a capital letter. Okay, so for the second illegal identifier, because it has exclamation mark, okay, so we have to remove it or delete the exclamation marks. Okay, that is how we can correct uh, from the illegal to become legal. Okay, it also cannot have any other kind of symbol except that underscore. So it's plus symbols. Okay, make it illegal. So we have to remove it, or we can replace it with letters. Okay, plus. Okay, it should be like this. Okay, for the last illegal. Okay, since it start with digits. Okay, we have to, so to correct it, we have to write it in a letter. Okay. Okay, so this is the last component of C++ program. We have a white spaces. Okay, in every C++ program, it contains white spaces. For example, blank. Okay, blank is a white spaces. The tab. Okay, and also new line character. So the purpose of white spaces. Okay, in C++ it separate. For example, a special symbol or reserved word and identifier. Okay. Okay, for example, when you make a variable declaration, for example, integer length. Okay, so integer is kind of reserved word. Okay, then you have white spaces between them, between reserved word, and length is an identifier. Okay, so the purpose of white spaces, it want to spread between reserved words and also identifier. Okay, so the utilization of white spaces is important, okay, because it can make the program more readable. Alright, so that's all for the last topic in chapter 1. Until we meet again in the next video. Thank you for watching.